Hello world, what is up? I'm your host, GastTalksFast, your resident caster, musician, entertainer, longtime clown, and of course, endless ball of energy / talking shadow. But not for long, because we will be updating that soon, stay tuned. And I am a lover of many things. Nature, dogs, cats, Godzilla, and of course, video games. Specifically, indie video games. Thankfully, indie games are exactly what this video is all about. Mainstream games are great, but expensive and complicated. Indie is simple. They're fun, undiscovered gems that entertain for hours and without the DLC price tag and massive time commitment. If you want to live free, play indie. Now this monster of a game was developed by a little studio called Motion Twin, and they got their start initially in 2001 by developing browser-based flash games and mobile games. And they did this for years, until they decided, hey, we want to develop a hardcore, ultra niche pixel art game with redonkulous difficulty. So they did. But then, in the middle of development, they wanted to work on another title entirely. So, in the interest of keeping their 8 to 10 person team small, they created a new studio under them to take over the Dead Cells project, and they called this studio Evil Empire. So the game, Dead Cells, is a 2D action platformer that uses randomly generated levels with non-linear progression and Souls-like play. So basically, it's like Dark Souls if you simplified the combat, randomized everything, and turned it 2D. Lots of dying, lots of killing, and lots of learning, with the only kicker being you don't have a checkpoint. And it's honestly this mishmash of various genres, mechanics, and sick beats that really amplify the tone of medieval horror action adventure. This horrific masterpiece of a game was inspired by various elements from different games, Team Fortress 2, tower defense games, and The Binding of Isaac. When this game was being developed, the devs really wanted to create a game whose progression and decision making revolved around the items that you get, similar to how The Binding of Isaac played, but without the pitfall of depending on specific loadout combinations. So what did they do? They made 50 different weapons, including TF2 style turrets that complemented player combat, and randomized the weapon drops for every single run. But the devs didn't just want to create a good game. They wanted to create a great one. So they used an OST created by Yoan Laula. And just listen to this amazing soundtrack. Dude, this isn't just an OST, it's an OST. That is how good that soundtrack is. It just hit different, guys. It just hit different. And for people who are into games that play like this, I would suggest you check out The Binding of Isaac, Katana Zero, and of course, Hades. Dying is a fundamental mechanic of this game. You'll die to just about anything. Enemies, traps, bosses, blocks, puddles, everything. Everything in this game wants to kill you. And when you die, you lose everything. Gold, weapons, skill points, just gone. While there are many ways for you to die in this game, there are just as many ways for you to survive. There are 50 different weapons in this game, and they all do different things. But you generally get these types of weapons at complete random, along with random but useful side effects. So you got your throwables, you got your arrows, you got your shields, you got your swords, and of course you have your sneaky deaky little traps. I personally love using traps, swords, and throwables because you gotta love those cheese strats. But hey, if you want to play honest and if you want to play for immersion, you can use the many defensive mechanics of this game. There's dodging, where you lick the floor and dodge an attack, and parrying, where you use a shield to deflect an attack or projectile if you time it just right. Though I personally hate both because it doesn't really teach you the core aspect of this game, its best defensive mechanic. The Joestar, where you run as quickly as you can, avoiding enemies and heading straight to the door to get to the next level. The only hope in a game that is actively trying to murder you are definitely cells. These are little things that let you buy the only permanent thing in this game: upgrades. In essence, they're just murder orbs and you can get them through two ways. The first is obviously murder, and the second is completing level challenges, which basically ask you to either give into your bloodlust and kill a minimum amount of enemies, or clear a level within a given time limit, pulling a bunch of Joestars every now and then. Either way, big fun, and it is possible to do both, but I always have too much fun murdering to try. But hey, if you're still trying to figure out if this game really is for you, we're gonna break it down for you in 6 different categories. First category is casual friendliness. This game is so easy to pick up. With its straightforward controls and a difficulty setting, the only limit to your progress really is your creativity and of course your pattern recognition. And if you're like me and you've just walked off, gotten home from a long day of work and just want to play a hack and slash game, you can just shut off the old noggin and head straight into the depths of Murderland, W keying your way through the stages, absolutely no problem. Category number 2, replayability. This game is very fresh and keeps it fresh. With permadeath forcing a soft reset, it's just a game that keeps on giving. It randomizes its levels, its enemies, and its weapons every single time and really keeps everything fresh. No matter how many times you play, there's always a different way and it's always a different run. On top of that, the long-term pickup is just great. I would definitely say that this is a game you can leave and come back to without a sitch. Since combat is simple and the additional actions always give out some sort of prompt, people that leave it for a long time don't really feel intimidated when they come back in it because the game mechanics are just so easy to remember and so simple to execute. With how this game is designed and how the levels are designed, there's a little something for every type of gamer here. For casuals, the game is mindless and simple. The mechanics are easy, it's fresh. The motivational soundtrack makes it the ideal game to just pick up and play. For the hack and slash adventure lovers, this game offers gorgeous gore and violence that keeps you constantly entertained. And lastly, for gamers that want a like challenge, fast-paced combat, and increasing mob spawns, as well as the hellish difficulty, will definitely force you into quick decision making that will test the limits not only of your patience, but also your mechanical skill. Category number 4, the visuals. They are absolutely stunning and spectacularly horrific. The weapon animations feel so unique and responsive. The ambiance is creepy, but moving through them with the original soundtrack just makes the game feel so thrilling and motivational, as if you're a protagonist on a medieval quest to save the kingdom. Category number 5, and definitely one of the most important ones, value, and the mechanics and level design add a lot to this game's novelty. But it's really the DLCs that make the game worth buying. But at the price point of $10 US or 500 Philippine pesos for the base game alone, it makes the game less than an ideal buy. Considering that while the game is really fun, when you just have the base game, it gets old pretty fast. So if you have the money to spare, get the DLCs, because that will definitely change your life. But again, not great value for what you're getting, considering the DLCs really are what makes this game absolutely majestic. The category is X Factor, and that's our number 6. What makes this game really great is the combination of the mechanics and the OST. You really feel motivated running through the levels with Gaelic music in the background. It's just so immersive and really makes you feel like you're that protagonist, that you're trying to save that kingdom, and you get so immersed that sometimes you just barely notice the time go by. So for people that love a good soundtrack and love great mechanics, this game could be worth checking out, especially if you have the funds for it. Overall, this game is perfect on all fronts, but only if you can afford to spend upwards of 1,000 Philippine pesos for the price tag on the base game plus the DLCs. Because if you can, this game, while a tad pricey, manages to stay so fresh with its diverse stages, beautiful level design, and creature design, as well as the redonkulous amount of weapons available to you. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for stopping by to watch our very first episode of the LKTN Indie Game Reviews. If you like the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Turn that little notification bell on so you can stay up to date with LKTN's latest and greatest videos for your personal enjoyment. Till then, thanks guys.